we're going to talk about something that, let's be honest, drives almost every business crazy. How do you manage a massive, just overwhelming list of products without getting totally lost in the weeds? And this is the perfect way to think about it. You don't treat every single email that hits your inbox the same way, do you? Of course not. You jump on the one from your boss, but that promotional email, it can wait. So why on earth would you treat every item in your warehouse the same? Trying to give equal attention to everything is just a recipe for burnout and failure. And the difference is, well, it's night and day. On one side, you've got pure chaos. You're wasting time, you're losing sales, and you're just constantly putting out fires. On the other side, you've got a system. You have focus, you have efficiency, and that leads directly to profit. So today, we're going to build that system. Okay, let's get right into it. Before we can even think about sorting our inventory, we have to do some housekeeping. We've got to make sure we're even looking at the right list in the first place. And this right here is a critical first step that so many people just skip. You have to clean your data. So what does that mean? Well, it's basically two things. First, you've got to get rid of your obsolete stock. We're talking about those items that haven't sold in forever, say over a year or two, and there's no real demand on the horizon. These don't need a replenishment plan. They need a get-rid-of-it plan. Second, you have to filter out all the stuff that isn't actually saleable inventory. Free samples, display units, spare parts for internal use. They're just clutter, and if you leave them in, they will absolutely skew your entire analysis. All right, now that we have a clean, relevant list of products, we can apply our first filter. And it's all based on a really famous principle that you've probably heard of, and it is the key to finding your true heavy hitters. Yep, it's the Pareto principle. For inventory, it basically says that a small slice of your items, your SKUs, is responsible for a huge chunk of your business value. And this simple idea, my friends, is the bedrock of what we call ABC analysis. And this is where it gets really interesting. Your A items, they're your superstars. They're the top 20% or so of your products that bring in around 80% of your value. Then, way down at the other end, you have your C items. They're the trivial many. They make up literally half of your items, but only contribute a measly 5% of the value. Right away, this tells you exactly where you should be spending your precious time and energy. Okay, but what is value exactly? And that's a fantastic question, because it's not just one thing. The real beauty of this whole model is how flexible it is. The cool thing is, you get to decide what value means based on your strategy. Are you trying to free up cash and reduce how much money is tied up in your warehouse? Then use cost of goods sold. Is your big goal to drive sales and grow the top line? Use revenue. Or are you laser focused on what actually hits the bottom line? Then for sure, use gross margin. The key takeaway here is that you choose the lens. But hang on, value is only half the story. I mean, think about it. An incredibly expensive piece of equipment that sells once a year is a completely different animal from a $10 item that flies off the shelves every single day. To get the full picture, we need a second filter, speed. And this is called velocity analysis. It sounds fancy, but it's super simple. We're just looking at how fast stuff moves. We're sorting items into high, medium, or low velocity based on how often they get picked, packed, and shipped out the door. And this is exactly why you need both filters. Your ABC analysis all by itself would scream that the $10,000 item is a critical A item, and it is. But its super slow velocity means you need a totally different strategy for it, right? Maybe you only order it when a customer places an order. That's a world away from the fast-moving $10 item that you need to be replenishing constantly. So now, this is where the magic happens. What happens when we take that value filter, our ABC analysis, and we combine it with the speed filter, our velocity analysis? We get something incredibly powerful. We get the classification matrix. This right here, this is the aha moment. All of a sudden, you don't just have a long, flat, overwhelming list of products. You have a strategic grid, and every single box in this grid points to a specific game plan. So let's zoom in on the two corners that really tell the whole story. First up, your A items, high value, high velocity.
These are your champions, your MVPs. They are the absolute heart and soul of your business.
For these items, the strategy is simple. Protect them fiercely. You pull out all the stops for these guys. Your forecasting, it needs to be dead on. You want to target an almost perfect service level because the stock out here is a disaster. You watch them like a hawk and you make sure their replenishment is absolutely seamless. Now let's swing all the way to the other side of the matrix. Let's talk about these CL items, low value and low velocity, the dust collectors. For these, your strategy is totally different. You need to challenge their very existence. You should be asking some really tough questions. Do we really need to stock this thing? Can we just make it a special order item? Could we replace it with another, better product? These items should get the absolute minimum amount of your time and your company's money. So what is the big takeaway from all of this? It's that by layering a couple of simple, logical filters, you can take that nightmare spreadsheet of products and turn it into a clear, strategic roadmap. Just remember these 4 steps. Clean your data first, then classify by value, then classify by speed, and finally combine them in the matrix. This whole process is what moves you from just being reactive and constantly putting out fires to being truly strategic, focusing your most valuable resource, which is your time, where it's going to have the biggest impact. And that brings us to one final thought. Without this kind of analysis, it's so easy for those slow-moving, low-value C items to get way more attention than they deserve. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Which items in your inventory are the C's that are masquerading as A's, stealing time and focus away from the products that really, truly matter?